It is a hot one out there right now. If you're on YouTube, go to the description, hit the school account link, and join us on school. What we are doing right here, is live. Okay? It's live. You can join, you can get on the school account, and you can participate in conversations. You can ask questions about anything that you have. We'll go over it to the best of my knowledge and ability, and the best of other people's knowledge and abilities. We will answer questions and see what we can do to help you out. Right. So that's what it's all about. We are doing things the God's way. Right. This is Herb Talk number 28, I believe, and it is autoimmune series number 18. We have a total of 39 weeks that we are going through with the autoimmune disease series. So we've got 21 more weeks to go, right? So this is a long form series. We're going through a lot, and all of it's free. And if you want to dive in more, let's talk about it. We've got products that we sell as well that help with autoimmune disease, different things that are really awesome. You can win prizes every single month if you join the school account. Join the school account, get on the Herb Talk Live, and you will be entered into the raffle, y'all. You will be entered into the raffle. Okay? I need to send out an Herb Talk Live now. Join up. All right. Send an email out, updates, post. All right. So, look, you can join on the account. Ooh, there was an error. What was the error? Confirm. Well, what the heck is the error, dude? I don't know what's going on with this thing. Reload. Um, yeah, you can join um, on the school account. Sorry, I am doing something. Join us. All right, so you can join up, and you can get on here live. You can get all your questions answered. You can get all that stuff. If you're seeing this on TikTok, right? Go to my account profile, join up, and you can get on the live. It is hot in here, y'all. I do not have AC in here. I've got a little fan, and I hope you guys can hear me clearly. Let me know if you can't, and I will alter or change that for the better, hopefully. But, y'all, we are ready to go with this. Now, we believe here with Great Health by God. It's named Great Health by God for a reason, because we believe that God has done it the right way, right? We believe God has done it the right way. We believe that there's no better way than to do it God's way. God has provided everything naturally for us on this earth to heal and to have the best health ever, right? So if we do things naturally, if we do things the way that God created them, we have optimal health, the best optimal health that we can possibly have. Now, obviously, we create artificial environments. I mean, I'm sitting in an artificial environment right now. We try to do it as least toxic as possible, or if we are doing something, it is for God. Like this right here. It is not a natural hat, right? Not organic or anything, which I would love for it to be, but I am supporting a youth group and missions through that. So, there's some things that we're okay with doing um, that maybe we should, lean a little more natural towards, even if we are supporting missions and stuff like that. So, um, but I mean, we are definitely on that track. So we eat from the earth, we drink its water, we breathe its air, right? We are electrically connected to it, right? We were made from the dust of the earth, y'all. We were made from the dust. Our bodies were. So if we pollute that or make it toxic, right? We pollute the air, pollute the water, pollute the ground, right? If we pollute that, we're obviously going to have some side effects in our bodies, and our bodies are not going to adapt very well to that, right? So we believe that there is natural healing, that God has placed everything on this earth for our bodies to heal naturally, and we can get into the science of that as well, and we do. And I have a book, and it is on School. I released it on School, so go to the School account, get the book, read my book. It's called Great Health by God. Wonderful short book. It's not a crazy read, but it explains some really great things, science and different things like that. That kind of opens your mind to how God created things, right? So really cool book. It also has natural progressions of health in there, which is really awesome, because we all start somewhere within our health journey, and so as we progress through health, um, there's always something to move towards or get better at, or look forward to. Right? We're always looking forward to the future and how well or how good we are going to feel. Right? So we always want to look forward to that. Let me pull up the raffle and get the people that are starting to come in on the raffle. Um, so, all right. All right, all right, all right. We're about to get started here for Herb Talk number 28. It's crazy. It's only been 28 Herb Talks. I feel like it's been a lot more for some reason. Like we've been doing this, and been doing it half a year now. That's 6 months. So I guess that is a pretty good bit. It's getting better and better each time, I would like to think. And it's getting more and more difficult to fit them in with our crazy schedule. So, can you hear me all right, y'all? Just making sure y'all can hear me all right. Yes, no, maybe so.
I got you.
Okay, sweet. Just making sure I don't have my mic on me. I've got it on the computer. That way,
Yeah, but I lost him for a few minutes.
oh, you didn't lose me?
Oh, sorry, I got my mic on. Yeah, for a few minutes we did, but you're back.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe that was an internet thing. All right, I got y'all in. All right, so today we're jumping into multiple sclerosis. So, let me angle my camera a little bit better here. So, multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune condition as well. It is one at which the myelin sheath is targeted, right? So, the myelin sheath is a protective sheath that surrounds nerve fibers. Myelin allows electric signals to travel efficiently along the nerves. It's kind of like an insulator of the nerves. um, oh man, I don't know what's going on there. But when it is damaged, nerve signaling becomes slowed or disrupted. Right. So, and this leads to symptoms such as weakness, numbness, coordination issues. Right. And visual disturbances as well, and fatigue. There's a lot of sharp pain associated with it as well. When those nerve endings have a lot of inflammation around it, right? So the immune attack in MS is driven by inflammatory cells, particularly T cells and microglia, right? Which cross the blood-brain barrier and begin targeting myelin, right? As if it were a foreign substance. Now, there is there is a lot of evidence that points to it actually being a foreign substance, right? So a lot of evidence points to MS being parasitic in nature. So keep that in mind as we go through this, because there is that possibility of it being very much so just a parasite that needs to be cleansed. And a lot of these symptoms ease and go away with a really good, strong parasite cleanse / fast. But there is a lot of other things that need to be done to help your body heal from any damage that could be caused by these parasites or by nerve damage from any of these other sources, right, as we get into this. So it starts targeting the myelin sheath as if it were a foreign substance. So this leads to the formation of lesions. These lesions are normally in the brain and spinal cord. And over time, repeated inflammation can result in both myelin loss and damage to the underlying nerve fibers. So neuroinflammation is a central feature of MS. Cytokines such as TNF alpha, interleukin 6, interleukin 17, these are all things that we've talked about in the past, contribute. And I'm glad, like, we're going over all these things over and over and over again. That way we get used to these terms and hearing them and understanding what they are. But they contribute to inflammatory environment within the nervous system, right? So oxidative stress also plays a significant role damaging both myelin and neurons. So the first goal is to protect the existing myelin, right, when you're dealing with MS. And this involves reducing that inflammation and the oxidative stress around it, right? So you want to protect it from further damage and make sure it's minimized. Antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds help to stabilize that environment around the nerve cells and prevent ongoing breakdown. The second goal is to reduce neuroinflammation, right? So calming the immune response within the central nervous system helps to slow the disease progression and reduce symptom severity, right? So this includes modulating immune activity so that it becomes more regulated rather than overactive. It's a lot of different things that you can, or a lot of different ways that you can do this, and we'll get to that here in a second. But the third goal is to support remyelination, right? Or remyelination. So that is the process of which the body has the capacity to repair the myelin, right? Through special cells called oligodendrocytes, right? We just gonna call them the OGs. Supporting these cells with proper nutrients and reducing inflammatory interference helps improve the chances of repair. And then the fourth goal, right, is just to calm the immune system, the attack itself, right? This involves shifting the immune system away from aggressive inflammatory responses and toward regulatory pathways that protect rather than damage tissue. So another important factor in MS is the integrity of the blood-brain barrier, right? So when this barrier becomes compromised, immune cells can more easily enter the central nervous system and contribute to inflammation. Supporting barrier integrity is part of reducing immune infiltration into the brain and spinal cord. So, although your immune system should be doing its job in that area, it gets inflamed when it's in the neurological system and can cause a lot of damage. Even if there is something there that it's fighting, right? So you have to be careful with all of that, with inflammation in those areas. So MS is not only a neurological condition, but it is also an immune and inflammatory condition affecting the nervous system. So addressing it requires a multifaceted approach, as with everything, right? And an approach that reduces inflammation, that protects the nerve tissue, supports repair mechanisms, and restores balance to the immune function. So the specificities around MS would be that nervous system protection, right? So you would do all the same things that you would do for other autoimmune diseases, except for those specificities around the neurological system, right? You're talking about specifics, like well, we'll get to some of that, and different things like lecithin, right? That's a molecule that is used to actually rebuild myelin sheath. A bunch of different things that is really, really important for your neurological system, right? And repair and function of it. Lion's mane mushroom is really awesome for this as well. It's one of the most important natural compounds for neurological repair. It stimulates the production of nerve growth factor, which supports the survival, growth, and regeneration of neurons. So in the context of multiple sclerosis, this is critical for supporting remyelination and repair of damaged nerve pathways, right? So it also helps improve cognitive function and may reduce neurodegeneration, which is really awesome. Typical doses range from 500 to 1,000 milligrams taken twice daily. I love lion's mane. It is one of many extremely awesome medicinal mushrooms out there. And in an autoimmune condition, and in most conditions, I recommend people take medicinal mushrooms, right? So medicinal mushrooms of all types, not just one, but many types. I always say the three top ones, and then maybe a specific one. So lion's mane would be a specific one rather than a top one, right? My three tops in the medicinal mushroom world are reishi mushroom, chaga mushroom, and cordyceps. They are far greater than all the others, and when it comes to adaptogenic properties and what it actually does for the body, for your immune system. And then you'd have your specifics. Lion's mane being for your neurological system, super awesome. Bacopa monterey is a really awesome herb. I love this herb. It is a neuroprotective herb that supports memory, cognition, and overall brain function. When you find it in a formula that's for memory or for cognitive ability, you probably have a pretty good formula there, because most people don't use it in their formulas, but it is really, really awesome and really good. It reduces neuroinflammation, right, and oxidative stress within the brain. So both of which are elevated in MS, right? So Bacopa also helps to stabilize neuronal signaling and may improve communication between the nerve cells, which is also lost in more advanced MS patients, right? So it's got a calming effect on the nervous system, so it can help reduce mental fatigue and cognitive decline associated with MS. And it helps not just associated with MS, but it also helps in cognitive decline with most other conditions as well. So, all right, I got you here, Sarah. So, another good one, ginkgo biloba. Love ginkgo. It improves cerebral circulation. Super important. It gets the microcirculation to all the microcapillaries, right? So it increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients to neural tissue, right? So it also acts as a strong antioxidant, helping to protect the myelin sheath and neurons from oxidative damage. By improving circulation and reducing free radical damage, ginkgo supports overall brain health and may help slow progression of neurological decline. It is like a vehicle, right? It is like a vehicle that pushes the nutrients and pushes the other herbs and things that you need to the neurological system, right? Oxygen, everything to help repair the damage, but also help to get the compounds of medicine that need to be there, right? One that is shown wonderful, um, shown to be wonderful, I guess, shown wonderful effects on MS and neurological diseases is cannabis, right? CBD. It has significant evidence supporting the use in multiple sclerosis, right? So, particularly for symptom management, but they interact with endocannabinoid systems, which plays a role in regulating the pain and the inflammation in the muscle tone in that system. So it'll help all of that, right? All of that inflammation. Cannabis-derived compounds can reduce spasticity, right? So nerve pain and fatigue. So they also have anti-inflammatory effects within the nervous system, and obviously it depends on if you can use it in your state, right? So, but I don't know. I think it's illegal here now, like completely. I don't know. It's like back and forth every other year.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it was passed in
Yeah,
May or something like
that's
that.
right. Yeah. Yeah, along with like a whole bunch of other stuff, like vaping products and stuff or something, I think. But yeah, that's crazy to me, because it can be used for so many different things and help so many different things. There is some other interesting things around all that I've been learning lately. But I won't dive into that because I'm not as well versed in it as I want to be before I start talking about it. But I will eventually. But alpha lipoic acid, also really, really awesome. Um, I used this in my brain formula that I developed. I also used Bacopa Monterey in my brain formula. Um, but it is a powerful antioxidant that can cross the blood-brain barrier, right? So allowing it to have a direct effect on the central nervous system. It reduces oxidative stress, which is a major contributor to myelin damage and neuronal injury. It is also it helps regenerate other antioxidants such as glutathione, further enhancing its protective effects. So that's really, really cool. Boswellia serrata, so boswellic acid, one of my many favorites for anti-inflammatory properties that extend into the nervous system. So it reduces inflammation by signaling pathways that contribute to the formation of lesions and plaques in MS, right? So in some research even suggests that it may help reduce the size or progression of plaques by lowering neuroinflammation, which is really cool. So definitely a must-have for the MS people out there. So ashwagandha, right? Love ashwagandha. Talked about it a couple of times, and we've talked about boswellic acid probably every time because it definitely needs to be in everybody's protocol for autoimmune disease. But ashwagandha provides neuroprotective and anti-inflammatory effects, right? So while also supporting stress response. So it inhibits the NF-κB, a regulator of inflammatory gene expression, right? So helping reduce chronic inflammation within the nervous system. It also supports overall resilience and may help improve energy recovery in individuals, especially with MS. And we talked about a lot about ashwagandha and what it does as well. You know, cortisol reduction by 26% when taken on a regular basis. Really good stuff. Really good stuff for most people. Unfortunately, there are specific conditions where it's not good. But together, these compounds address multiple aspects of multiple sclerosis. Man. Lion's mane supports nerve repair and regeneration. Bacopa and ginkgo protect and enhance brain function. Alpha lipoic acid reduces oxidative damage. Boswellia and ashwagandha calm neuroinflammation. Cannabis-based compounds help manage the symptoms and help regenerate neurons, right? So, in this combination or this approach supports protection of the myelin sheath and reduction of inflammation and improvement in neurological function altogether. And these are some specifics for this condition. There are other things that you would take as well to make sure that you get all of the materials to repair the function. But the list is long, right? The list is very long of things that you want to make sure that you're getting. And a lot of these things can be covered by diet as well. There's a couple of diets out there that are have been focused around MS or at least been utilized by MS patients that have had really good results. I'm going to talk a little bit about those diets. They're very similar to like just a really clean anti-inflammatory diet or reductionist diet, but also a very clean antihistamine diet, which is what I always start off autoimmune patients with, just so there's no excess inflammation being caused by histamine going rampant. And one of the diets is called the Swank diet, SWANK, the Swank diet. And the other one is the Wahls protocol, right? Two of the most well-known dietary approaches developed specifically for multiple sclerosis, right? So they both aim to reduce inflammation, support neurological health, slow disease progression, but they take slightly different approaches. Okay, so the Swank diet focuses primarily on reducing saturated fat intake. It was developed based on observations of people or populations with lower saturated fat consumption. They had lower rates of MS, right? So the diet emphasizes very low intake of saturated fats, typically under 15 grams per day, while encouraging the consumption of unsaturated fats, of those found in fish and plant oils, right? So it includes lean proteins, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, while limiting red meat, processed foods, and high-fat dairy. So the goal is to improve blood flow, reduce inflammation, and decrease the burden of the vascular. Oh, got somebody else. Okay, of the vascular system, and which may influence disease progression in MS. Right. So the Wahls protocol takes a more nutrient-dense functional approach. Right. So it is built around the idea of providing the brain and nervous system with the specific nutrients needed for repair and optimal function. So this protocol emphasizes large amounts of vegetables, especially leafy greens, sulfur-rich vegetables, and deeply colored fruits and vegetables, along with high quality proteins, and healthy fats, right? So it removes processed foods, gluten, dairy, and often grains and legumes, right? So all the things that we would normally remove in a reductionist diet, right? So what we always approach with autoimmune disease, that is the Wahls protocol as well, right? So they would go for that reductionist diet right off the bat. That's where I'm at with this. I think that's the right way to go initially, right? But then you got to get your gut right. All the other things that we've talked about when we're talking about autoimmune disease, all plays a role in this, right? But it is similar to an autoimmune or paleo style approach, right? So that's why I like this one a little bit better than the other one. I think this one have a lot more benefits, right? So if it's something you want to look it up. The Wahls protocol, it specifically targets mitochondrial function. Super important, aiming to improve energy production within cells, right? So, which is often impaired in MS. It's impaired in everybody, honestly. And at least 60% of the population isn't able to methylate proper vitamins. So that also impairs mitochondrial function. But by providing high levels of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, it supports both neurological repair and immune regulation. So both approaches share common principles, reducing inflammation, improving nutrient intake, supporting overall metabolic health. The choice between them often depends on individual response and preference, right? So diet alone rarely drives full remission by itself. They can be foundational though, right? So they're not complete systems. You want to make sure you have strategy and approach. Everybody's different. Everybody has different lived experiences, different injuries, different ways that they have arrived at this situation. But most of it is going to be reducing your toxic load, doing some therapeutic herbs that are specific for your condition, and then change your lifestyle from there on forward. So pretty, straightforward stuff. But autoimmune conditions like MS are multi-layered problems. So remission level improvement typically requires addressing all the major drivers at once, right? It's a strategy. You want to remove the triggers, the diet, the toxins, infections, stressors, all of those things. You want to repair the gut and the barrier systems, right? You want to, so the gut lining, the microbiome, the blood-brain barrier specific for this. You want to regulate the immune system. So shift away from Th17 dominance toward Treg balance, right? Treg balance. Reduce inflammation and histamine, right? So you want to reduce that histamine response and inflammatory response. So you want to calm the system enough for healing to occur. You want to rebuild and protect tissue, specifically in this myelin sheath, mitochondria, and neurons, right? And then you want to stabilize the nervous system for this, right? Lock in long-term regulation. Vitamin D also plays a huge and critical role in multiple sclerosis and is one of the most consistently studied nutrients in this condition, right? It acts as an immune regulator and helps maintain immune tolerance, so reducing the likelihood of immune system attacking the myelin. So low vitamin D levels are strongly associated with increased risk of developing MS. Get out in the sun, y'all. And higher disease activity in those already diagnosed, right? So supplementation has been shown to reduce relapse rates, but and they may improve immune balance in some individuals. But there's also the vitamin D receptor that we talked about before. You have to make sure that these things are working properly together. Higher doses of vitamin D have been studied in MS populations. These doses aim to bring blood levels of vitamin D into the optimal range and for immune regulation rather than just preventing deficiency. but because vitamin D is fat soluble, it is important to monitor levels through blood testing and ensure proper balance with cofactors such as magnesium and K2. This is extremely important. You have to have those cofactors, otherwise you're not utilizing it properly, and we've talked about that. So this helps to ensure safe and effective use while maximizing its benefits for the immune and neurological health. So together, targeted dietary strategies and optimized vitamin D levels provide a strong foundation for reducing inflammation, supporting myelin health, and improving overall outcomes in multiple sclerosis. It's very similar approach to every other autoimmune disease out there, except for the specifics, right? Every one of them has their specifics, and hopefully, you're starting to see there's little nuances amongst them, but the overall approach is the same, right? The system is the same. Anti-parasite initially. We got Lane in here. Let me get her in. So anti-parasite initially. There. Come on. Add it. There we go. All right. Anti-parasite initially. Gut barrier repair. So gut lining and gut barrier and just overall gut health repair. Right. And then you move into reductionist diet, and you might want to do gut barrier. You might want to be moving into the gut or into the reduction diet as you are going through the parasitic cleanse and the gut health, right? So you're already gradually moving that direction with those. And then you are into a herb specific, right? So after all of that, you're taking dietary herbs specific for your condition and autoimmune disease. What I did with how I set it up for Great Health by God is I did an autoimmune tea, right? And then I did capsules specifically so everybody who has autoimmune disease, they would take the tea, they would drink the tea. That would help to calm the nervous system, get it regulated and everything. But then I would, I have specific capsules for specific conditions. And so that's where those little specificities and nuances that you would take internally would help to push you strategically across that remission line, right? So those different therapeutics would get you there with the diet, with the lifestyle changes, right? Exercise included in there, low sugar intake, zero toxin intake or as much as you can, and start to transfer your lifestyle, right, into a more natural lifestyle. That is what will get you there 100% of the time. God's way is better than anything that man has ever created or done. And I can say that with full confidence. So if you just follow the design that has already been laid before you, things tend to go well, right, in your health, right? And unless Satan is just full on attacking you like Job, then usually, things tend to go well. And even then, you tend to make it through it all right. So you just have to trust in the process, right? So, but as I wholeheartedly believe, if you try to move in the right direction, do the right things, that you will have much better results than if you were to go to a doctor and get their opinion on it, right? So, especially with degenerative diseases, obviously, the medical field or modern medicine has its ups, right? But it has a lot more downs than ups. The upside of the medical field is that, first of all, it's extremely well funded. So it is extremely well organized. So the procedure of diagnosis and treatment is very organized and well laid out. Now, they still don't know what they're doing when they're doing all that. They're still really clueless as to what's going on. but it's very well organized confusion, right? And I hear it all the time, like I was just talking to somebody the other day, said, this person I know, they've got this, and, what can they do for it and everything. I'm like, okay, well, I said, let's ask this question first. Do they want to be healed? Right? Do they want to be healed? Because if they want to be healed, that's a totally different approach than do they just want some symptom relief, right? Do they just want to feel okay and manage it? Or do they want to actually go into full remission and be healed? And when she went and asked that question to the guy, he basically said, there's nothing anybody can do for me. I'm just, this is what it is, basically. And that's how I know that doctors don't really know what they're doing, because of course there's things that you can do for yourself. It's crazy to me to think that anybody would ever get to the position where they just think that nothing's going to work. But that is how our system is created. That's how the medical system basically leads everybody to, right? It leads everybody to their grave eventually, right? And so now we're going to make it to the grave whether we like it or not, but I would like to do it in God's timing, not in man's timing. So, yeah, there's all that and stuff. So I know I'm just ranting now. I don't even know where I'm going with all this, but the thing is, like I said, 100% of the time, we do it God's way, things go better. But I just can't stand the fact that people are led down this road of constant testing, and doctors don't know what's going on with them, right? They don't know how to fix them. They don't know what's going on. That's the organized confusion part. That's where I was. Sorry, I lost my track. But that is the organized confusion part of it. It's very well organized. They look like they're professionals. They look like they know what they're doing because they have fancy devices and technology and computers and all this stuff, but they really have no clue. They end everybody up in the same position of, we can't help you. That's it. All we can do is give you this medication for the rest of your life, this surgery that takes parts out of you. We can't help you. That is where everybody ends up in the medical system 100% of the time. And I don't understand why people are still going back, right? Like, the success rate of a doctor is like zero, right? Of curing anything, right? They cannot cure anything. They have never cured anything. Even polio, they never cured. They'll take credit for it, but they never cured it. Okay, go back and look at the statistics. Polio was down by like 90 something percent, like 95% before a vaccine was ever even created. So they didn't cure anything, right? They never have, they never will, doing it that way, right? The only thing that the medical industry is really good for, surgical procedures, right? Acute and major surgical procedures. They're really, really good at that, but they could still do it differently, right? They could introduce different herbs, different healing herbs, coagulants, different things to help, blood clotting and wound healing and all that stuff. Their medical system's built on sterility, and I understand why, except for nobody logically looks at the reason why, and the process of how we got there. But I understand sterility in some situations, but at the same time, there's better ways of doing it, right? Cleanliness is better than sterility. But that's a whole other herb talk. So it's organized confusion, extremely organized, really, really good benefit of the medical system. Herbalism is becoming more and more organized, right? Not just herbalism, but strategic alternative medicine, or traditional medicine, as I would like to say, because it is the traditional medicine. It's the one that's always worked in the past. And the results are much greater than ever going to a doctor, right? Like I said, doctors' results, zero in curing anything, right? They cannot cure anything. They cannot and have never cured anything. The modern medical system has never cured anything. So if somebody had that success rate of doing anything in life, I would never go back to it, right? There's so many things you can relate that to. Like, you know, a life jacket, right? I would never jump into the water with a life jacket that had a 0% chance of floating. Like, that's just insane, right? I would never jump out of a plane with a parachute that had a 0% chance of opening, right? Um, but this is the reality of what we live in. They cannot cure anything, right? And still we go back to them and go back to them and go back to them. It's wild. But it's because they look really smart. But it's just organized confusion. But herbalism, alternative medicine, or traditional medicine is gaining popularity now because people are seeing what's going on with the medical field. So, or with modern medicine, right? So they're seeing that they aren't curing anything and have not and will not. And hopefully, people start to turn towards God through that experience and get away from the other that is not God, right? I wholeheartedly believe that the world would be deceived by pharmakia, right? Revelation 19:21, I believe. So, yeah, we have to take that into account and make sure that we are um, focusing in the right direction, in God's direction. Anything else for tonight? I'm just ranting over here. Sorry, y'all. I went off on a long rant.
Just a lot of your medications that are made today are made off of herbs. They synthetically uh, copy an herb so that they can make money off of it and patent
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so I think the statistic is something like 85% of pharmaceuticals are derived from plants, or they are created based on plants. Um, they do I forget what it's called now, but it's a chemistry term where they flip the molecule. Basically, they mirror the molecule, um, and it becomes way more active, right? But um, they don't put the cofactors with it that are found naturally. So it's not a gentle approach at all. It's a forced approach, which causes damage and side effects and everything else. So you don't actually get a cure. You get something that just causes more damage. Um, so yeah, it forces its way into the body, and your body fights it. Right, your body fights it because it sees it as a foreign substance. Most of the chemical compounds that are created from oil. Right, that was the Rothschilds doing. They own the oil company. They figured out that they could take these carbon-rich compounds in oil, and they could create chemicals and do a bunch of chemistry stuff and make drug compounds and sell them to people and all that good stuff. So, yes, you are correct in that, but they are synthetically made. They're derivative of plants, 85% of them derivative of plants, but then synthetically copied, basically. So, but 100% of the time, herbs work faster and better at healing every single condition. May not symptom-wise, but actually healing the condition, yes, 100% of the time, better, faster than any pharmaceutical drug out there that you could ever take. So, and in a lot of cases, if you do the right things and the right doses, symptom-wise, faster than prescription drugs, right? So,
Well, a pharmaceutical drug will only you have to take it the rest of your life.
mhm,
Well, it doesn't do the healing where the herb, because it does it faster, is because it actually heals.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But even symptom-wise, a lot of times, if you do the right things, it will alleviate your symptoms quicker, faster. Um, Even with headaches, right? So a lot of people just take Advil and stuff like that, but there are compounds out there, white willow bark and all that good stuff, with migraines that actually will help to take away that migraine. Jennifer has seen that. We've made different things in the past for her migraines, and then eventually, reduced her migraines to very little now, which is really, really awesome, because they used to be very often and getting more frequent, and then we changed some things, and it's gotten a lot better, a lot better. So now it's manageable. So, any other questions or comments? Yes, no, maybe so. Comments or questions? Can you read that? This is lion's mane mushroom. This is a mushroom complex. This is what we're going to be giving away this month. Lion's mane mushroom, 10-to-1 extract. Chaga mushroom, maitake mushroom, shiitake mushroom, reishi mushroom, 30% extract. So really good stuff right here. This is a really good mushroom complex that is fantastic for your immune system. If you're like really sick, take 10 of these a day, right? And be good in a few days, right? Like if you have the flu, right? You take 10 of these a day, it'll be gone in a couple of days. Honestly, I've taken anywhere up to like 10 of these an hour, and it does some amazing things, right? So medicinal mushrooms, that's what we're giving away, lion's mane. So for the myelin sheathers out there.
I can't wait to win.
I know, right? We're going to have to take you out of the competition. You're winning everything. Did Jennifer tell you about the drawing for the churches?
She texted me that she was playing around and drew it, and it was one I
Yeah,
had put in.
yeah. I'm like, what the heck? You need to mosey on over to Georgia and get yourself a lottery ticket or something. You're gonna make us all rich. But yeah, that is what we're giving away. I'll just add it to your pile since you haven't picked up your other two.
Sounds good. I'll get them on Saturday.
Yeah. But any other questions before we hang it up tonight? It's been a quick one tonight. These specific conditions are kind of, you go through that targeted little bit, so it's not as long as like the rest of them that we normally go through. Next week, we are talking about IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, right? Or Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, those types. IBS sort of deals there. So that one it'll be kind of quick, because it has to do a lot with gut healing, which we've gone over a lot. So that one will be kind of quick as well. And then I can't remember what week we get into. So then we'll get into psoriasis after that. And then type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is going to be a good one. Then fibromyalgia, Sjogren's. I think it's week 23. Yeah, so week 23 is where we get into vagus nerve stuff, like more deeply than what we had before, which is really cool. It's cool stuff. We have a device that's really awesome that stimulates the vagus nerve. We just got to use it more. I'm going to use it tonight because I forgot about it. But it's really cool. It like goes around your neck and stimulates electrically, stimulates your vagus nerve. So pretty cool. Relaxation. and all that goodness. Anything else, y'all? Anything? Yes, no, maybe so. All right. There are no more questions. We will say sayonara and we will pray. Who wants to pray tonight? Who wants to pray us out? Anybody? Anybody? I'll pray us out. Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity for us to come together tonight and just learn more about your way, Lord. We hope that we can just continue to focus on you and to become stronger in your word and to become intentional and disciplined in what we do with the temple that you have given us, Lord. To continue to guide us. Lord, just refreshing us every single day. We ask that you just fill us with your Holy Spirit, Lord. Allow us to know exactly where you are all around us. Allow us to have that peace and knowing that you are here with us in every decision that we make and everything that we do, Lord. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. I will see y'all another time. Thursday nights. It's the only night I've got right now. So, Thursday nights.
Okie dokie, bye.
Bye.